Hey everybody, Scott Livingstone here in the Ball 5 Clubhouse, bringing you the LSU recap series that the Aggies played in Baton Rouge. 3-0, series sweep. 3 wins are always big in this conference, so it doesn't matter how LSU played or whether their team was up to last year's snuff, doesn't matter because 3 wins are 3 wins on our side, so that's huge for us. So taking a look at game 1 real quick, we won 10-4. And Sadeo got the start. He threw the ball pretty well. I was pretty impressed with him. 4 2/3, 6 hits and 4 Ks. He was a little upset when he came out, but I was okay to see that. Gavin Lyons, he earned the win for 2 1/3 innings, and Darden, he closed for the final 2 innings. As far as the hitters, Jake Dewar, Mr. Professional, came up with the 2 RBI single. That was clutch after having a battle through that at bat. Jorian Wilson, 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 bombs. Man, he crushed those balls opposite field. It's really good to see Jorian hitting the ball opposite field because that's starting to show you that he believes he can wait on the ball a little bit longer. Because what I've been impressed with about Jorian is, he just needs more at bats. That's what he needs. He needs more at bats, more time in the batter's box against these guys that have, like Partita, he said during the podcast, he goes, yeah, you see guys that throw hard during the summer, during summer ball, but once you get in the SEC, they all have really good second and third pitches. So I've seen Jorian swing at balls in the dirt on 2-0 because you got to remember, these guys pitch backwards a lot. They're not going to give you a cookie right down the middle every time. So one thing being said about that is I saw him swing at a 2-0 pitch in the dirt, one at bat, and then the next at bat, somebody threw him a 2-0 changeup in the dirt, same pitch, and he took it. So he's learning. He's getting at bats. He's growing. He's getting better. So that's really good to see. Gavin Grahovac, 2 for 6 with an RBI and a home run. Guy's on a heater, man. Guy's on a tear. Chris Akopian, 2 for 4 with 1 RBI. And 1 hit by pitch that looked a little critical because a lot of blood coming out, and it's a tough dude. So to have him not come back in the game, which I guarantee you, and I heard that he was wanting back in the game, but they couldn't stop the bleeding. So, but he showed up next day, and he was ready to play. Sorrell, he had an on-base streak to 30 straight games. That's pretty impressive. Grahovac had a hit streak, 11 games, which is really impressive too. And Partita has one with 7 games. And Kellner increased his on-base streak of 35 games out of 36. And you talk about a guy that's at the bottom of the lineup that turns it over for a hitter like Grahovac. That's great. And that's huge for any team to be able to know that you're going to have a guy at the bottom of the lineup that's going to battle in at bats, hit by pitches, take close pitches, but he's going to get his swing on when he's ready too. All right, so let's move on to game 2. 7-2 win by the Aggies. Series win right there, sealed the deal. Aiden Sims was throwing that Saturday. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Guy had a nice outing like he has been doing. So doing really well. And then Freshcorn came in to close it out with 2 innings pitched, and he looked pretty sharp as well. That guy, Grahovac, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs and a home run. That makes, I don't know how many times he's done it, but that's another time that he's done consecutive home runs in back-to-back games. So it's pretty impressive. Like I said before, the guy's on a heater. Jake Dewar, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Mr. Professional gets it done, man. I love his at-bats. Bear Harrison, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs, and a home run as well. He has reached base in 12 straight games. So I think that's about as many hit by pitches he has too. He may have more than that by now, but anyway, kid's getting on base. Sorrell on base streak to 31. He had a double, nice double. Partita 8-game hitting streak, and Akopian back after getting hit in the face. If you hadn't heard that before, and I think he's going to have to have some teeth fixed. Had a nice double and an RBI. And then I really liked what I saw from TK. I know he had a stolen base, but to see him trying to bunt, fake bunt, do some things like that to move the infielders around, I think that's huge for strategy because, he's a speed guy. He makes good contact. He puts the ball in play. And people need to be afraid of the bunt from him, whether it's a push bunt or a drag bunt. You got to see that from him. I think that's huge for his game. All right, so moving on to game 3, we completed the sweep, 5-2. Weston Moss, 4 1/3, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. One of his better outings here recently. So it's pretty good to see after the long layoff he had of having the rain out against Texas. Grahovac, 2 for 5 with an RBI. Hit streak to 13 now. Also had a stolen base, showing the wheels. Chris Akopian, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, a home run. Remember, he got hit in the face. Sorrell, on base average, 32 games and still going. He had a home run as well, and it was his 41st home run, I believe 18th for the year. And Boston Kellner, 37 of 38 games on base. Doing a great job getting on base, like I said before. And then Lyons came in and got his 5th conference win. That's crazy for a reliever. 5th conference win. So kid's been dealing. And Freshcorn came on to shut it down. So we took the sweep. It was a nice weekend for us. And up next, we have Florida. So before we move on into the talking a little bit about Florida, I want to talk a little bit about our team because I think we're trending up, as they like to say. But when you look at our pitching staff, I mean, everybody, you're concerned about the depth in the bullpen and stuff like that. I mean, I think everybody is starting to kind of figure out what their role is when they're coming in the game. So I can tell you, as a pinch hitter or somebody that went in to pinch hit in the National League, you have to be ready for any situation. So you have to play the game in advance and know when to be ready. And a lot of that's mental. So mentally you have to be ready before maybe you warm up in the bullpen, because you got to be ready to go in the game, and you can't just spur the moment and go, okay, I'm going to be ready mentally, but you can get set beforehand. And I think these guys are starting to realize that that's their role in the bullpen, of when they come in, when they might come in, and just start kind of preparing mentally. So I think, the Coach Kelly's doing a great job down there at the bullpen. Of course, Early's doing his thing with the hitters. And when I talk about the hitters, I think it's great because you look at the guys, nobody else, maybe UCLA, Georgia Tech, I would think that's probably about it that has the offenses that we have. I mean, top to bottom, top to bottom. I mean, they've put this team together, and I'm going to use the word constructed this lineup. And the reason I'm using that word is because I think it's G.A. Johnson of LSU. He had an interview and he said that he did not feel like they constructed their lineup correctly through the portal and all that stuff, and wanted freshmen. We're looking for freshmen to kind of rebuild, but they went and tried to replace people with transfer portal guys, transfers. So that made it tough. For us, you got to look at the lineup. I mean, the top three. I mean, geez, Grahovac, Sorrell, Akopian. Those guys are bangers, man. And then you don't have your typical 4 hitter in the 4 hole, but Dewar, professional hitter. He's going to foul balls off. He's going to make the pitcher work. He's going to do all sorts of things to frustrate the pitcher. And he may frustrate the third base dugout too, because he keeps fouling balls over there at him. Um, when we look at Partita, I mean, super hitter, powered all fields, takes the close pitches. He's going to strike out some, but that's okay because he's going to put the ball in play and he's going to make contact. He's a good guy to have there, and he plays a solid third base. If you go on down the line, now you start to look at Jorian. Look at Jorian and what he's doing. I mean, guy's learning on the fly. I mean, it's basically what he's doing. So I think that's pretty cool how he's doing it, making some adjustments. Yeah, he's got swing and miss. He's a big guy. He's going to swing and miss. Nowadays in the big leagues, you can hit 215, I don't know, 30, 40 home runs and 60 RBIs, and you get $25 million for the next year. I mean, it's just crazy what they're giving out now. And let's not forget about TK. I mean, he's now been inserted in the lineup, back in the lineup, doing his thing, making plays defensively out there. Huge, it's a huge lift for the team. And I believe, him doing the bunting and the hitting, the making good contact and stealing bases and doing stuff like that, he's a threat. And you need those types of guys in the lineup too. And he's that guy. And so the more that he plays and gets back into it, I think he's just going to get better and better. And, Bear and Boston at the bottom of the lineup, I mean, it's just crazy what they're able to do. And to roll that lineup over to the three big boys, I mean, it's huge. Nobody else has that depth. And when I think of it, I think about back in the day where Cortez came in and would shut teams down for like 5 innings in the middle of the game and give our offense a chance to catch up. And I feel like that's kind of what, LSU needed yesterday from the guy that came in was their closer. We did strike out 14 times, and I think he got 9 of them, but they used their closer to shut it down. But the difference is they don't have the lineup to do that, to make that comeback. They just don't have the lineup like we do. So it's a tribute to Coach Early putting that roster together, Pennington, and those guys being able to get the job done of training with these players and splitting their jobs. This guy runs the hitting, this guy runs the defense, this guy runs the pitching, and coaches are doing their job. So it's definitely trending up, and I think it's going to be an interesting finish here. All right, let's move forward to a little bit about Florida for this upcoming series. Well, first of all, we're ranked number 7 now in D1 rankings, which that's great. But if you've watched my podcast, you know that I just say all the time, rankings don't mean anything. And the reason rankings don't mean anything is because I don't even know if we got knocked out of the rankings. We were 25th, and now all of a sudden we're 7th. LSU was number 2 behind UCLA. Now they're not in anymore. So RPI, which is important, we're 8th now. We've moved up, so pretty good there. Florida is actually ranked 21st, but their RPI is 9th. So like I said about the RPI, that goes back to who they've played and who their opponents have played. So that's kind of where it all falls. They are 28-13 and 10-8 in conference. So they're going to be tough at home. They are. Now, I don't want to overlook UTSA, but that game may get rained out. But they're ranked actually 34th, and we play them Tuesday, and their RPI is 41. So won't hurt us too bad playing them, but we need to get a win because they're pretty salty themselves. And in comparison with that, LSU is 65th RPI, Vandy 72, Missouri 113. So minus Missouri, there's some teams there, Vandy and LSU, that you usually see in the top 15, 18 RPIs. So as far as Florida, like I said, they've actually beaten Miami twice and Florida State twice. So that's pretty big. So you can look at their record at 10-8, 28-13, but they swept South Carolina. They were swept by Alabama. They actually swept Arkansas on the road. I don't know if you remember all that week when everybody was getting swept. It was pretty crazy. They lost 2 to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is on a heater. That was at home. And they took 2 of 3 at Georgia. So that's pretty impressive in itself. And then they lost 2 at Auburn here at home. So it's kind of like one loss, one loss, one loss. And so hopefully they're on the loss part of this in the next one. Their conference batting average is 231. Not too good. They have one guy hitting over 300. They have 21 home runs as a team and 21 doubles. In comparison to their hitting 231, we are hitting 283, 36 home runs, and 34 doubles. So it kind of shows that, we got the power, we got the bang, we're banging that ball around the park, but we're also getting our hits, which that's huge. And so I think that's going to come into play because Florida, they're sneaky. You never know what you're going to get. Plus, it's Gainesville. So they're at home. So it's a tough place to play. And, we've had some success there and we haven't had some success there. So, excuse me, as far as their pitching, they've got their pitching. Aiden King is one of their starters. He's at 2.55. Liam Peterson, who's supposed to be a number 1 pick, maybe top 10, is at a 3.23 ERA, and Russell Sandifer at a 5.12. Now, there's one thing that these guys look at now. It's called WHIP. It's walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So it shows you how much they're letting these guys get on base. You look at ERA. ERA can also be affected by your defense. Guys are missing balls. Guys aren't getting the balls. But with their walking guys and giving up hits, then you can figure that easier. So Aiden King's WHIP is 0.85. Liam Peterson is 1.53. Russell Sandifer is 1.14. So to understand that, below 1.2 is good. Under 1 is elite. So Aiden King, which is probably their Friday guy, got an elite whip average. So our ERA for our pitchers, they're for a team, this is conference, is 4.36, and ours is 6.02, which I think is a little bit misleading. And the opponents are 9.38, so we're banging the ball around, and they're 4.88, so they're pretty even. I think it's a little bit like Texas, even though Texas didn't do that well on the pitching side of it. But like I said, we are a great hitting ball club. So if their pitching's going, then they go. It doesn't seem like they've had a lot of blowouts and stuff like that, but they're going to be tough. They're at home, so um, it's going to be interesting to watch us the rest of the way. And you heard it here, maybe first or second, depending on if you listen to Richard Zane. But I don't know. Coach Early might be SEC Coach of the Year. Bam! Just said it. All right, gang. That's it for the wrap up. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and let's go Ags. Until next time.